everyone. So we are going to discuss now some of the work that you did on the rest of task number 8. And so we're going to start here at number 4, this is number 3. And so the goal for these problems was that you were going to solve each word problem below, make a diagram, or use your part-whole map, write an equation to describe the word problem. So I'm going to read the word problem again, and then I'm going to show you my thinking and my examples here. So this is letter A. There are 12 dogs at the park. There are 7 children at the park. How many more dogs are at the park than children? So remember, these problems are comparing. So we're comparing the number of dogs to the number of children. Alright, so I used the strategy that was shown on the first page with Jeremiah and Erica. And so I drew the number of dogs and I just did circles, and then I drew the number of children. And so when I was done, I lined up so that I could see how many kind of lined up from the children and the dogs, and then these were the ones that there were more of. So you can see there are more dogs than children. And so here's the equation that I came up with. So originally I had 7 plus, so 7 comes from the number of children, plus, I had a blank here, equals 12, because there were 12 dogs. And so I found out there are 5 more dogs than there were children. And I know that from these circles out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how I solved on letter A. If we go to letter B, we see there are 8 birds on the ground. There are 13 birds in the tree. How many more birds are in the tree than on the ground? So again, I did the same strategy. I drew my diagram with the ground birds. Notice that I made sure to label everything. That makes it very helpful when you are organizing your thoughts, that you are labeling them so we know exactly what it is that you have on there. So I had ground birds, I had 8 of those. And then the tree birds, there were 13. And so again, I lined up one for one each through here, and I drew kind of a box around that to know that I had lined those up. And then these are the ones that were extra or more of. And so my equation said I had 8 ground birds plus 5, and I got 5 from these ones over here left over, equals 13. So I know there are 5 more birds in the tree. So again, you could show your diagram or your picture that way. You could also have used your part-whole map. Either way is fine. Something that's great about math is that there are lots of strategies that you can use, and so whichever that you use is fine as long as it's helping you to solve for the answer. So let's look at a few more on the next page. This is question C. There are 16 grapes in the bowl. There are 5 strawberries in the bowl. How many fewer strawberries than grapes are in the bowl? And so this, I circled the clue word fewer. That helped me to figure out that I'm going to be finding the difference between the grapes and the strawberries. So again, I drew the same kind of picture. I drew 16 grapes, and then I drew 5 strawberries, and I lined them up, circled them to make sure they were lined up. And then these were all the all the grapes that there were kind of extra. So here's my equation on this one. I did 16 grapes minus 5 strawberries, and that equaled there were 11 fewer strawberries. And I also just counted on here to get that number 11. So I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I wrote 11 fewer strawberries, noticing that I'm labeling my answer so that we know there were 11 fewer strawberries, because that is what the question was asking us to find. All right, on D, I tried to draw a part-whole map, and so I used the beginning of this task to help me design that. So this should look familiar to you from Erica's work in the beginning of this task. And so we have 19 red flowers in the vase and 14 white flowers. How many fewer white flowers than red flowers are in the vase? So again, here I drew 14 white flowers, and I added some in here. I drew little arrows just like they did on the first part to figure out how many more would be 19. So I had 14 here, and then I kind of counted up to get to 19. So I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so to find my equation, I did 19 red flowers minus 14 white flowers. And it gave me 5, which is what I drew here. These are my 5 that I drew. And then I put my answer here, 5 fewer white flowers. And the last one is letter E. There are 8 children and 15 adults in the room. How many more adults are in the room than children? So I went back to drawing my diagram on this one because I like to do that strategy more, but you can do it either way you like. So we had 8 children, and then we had 15 adults. And so I lined them up, and then I drew a box around them to make sure they were lined up, and these were the ones that I couldn't line up because there weren't any more. So we had 8 children, plus, then I counted these circles that were left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So plus 7 equals 15, right? So I found that there are 7 more adults, and that's here, than there were children. So I hope you enjoyed working through these tasks and making comparisons in your problems. These are all problems that are like real life problems, which I always think are more interesting. And so if you get time and you're interested while you're at home, you can absolutely make up your own problems about comparing how many more or how many fewer. And then share those with us somehow. Bring them back to school when we're back, or take a picture, send it to your teacher. And let's see some other problems that you can come up with of comparing different things. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.